Hello, Cryptowisers. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Milton, and I will be your captain for this episode. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about two beauty new projects. They are both new DEX platforms, very early stages for both of them. I love the potential of both. Obviously, decentralized exchanges are here to stay. Now it's about innovation. Who is coming up with the best new innovation for DEXs? I think these two projects are among the best new ones I've come across. So let's not waste any more time, Cryptowisers. You know what to do. Buckle up, because this is going to be another exciting episode of Cryptowise. Alrighty, the first project I want to talk about is called Beholder. And I want to thank the team at Beholder for sponsoring this segment of today's video. I really think Beholder is a beautiful little gem of a DEX, and it is a little gem now because it is still early. Beholder actually has two tokens associated with it, and I'll talk about both of them, but I'm concentrating today on the I token. This is the governance token of Beholder. But before I go into the tokenomics of I, let's have a quick chat about Beholder itself. So look, we have Uniswap, we've got SushiSwap, we've got PancakeSwap over on Binance Smart Chain. So really the only reason to invest in a new DEX is one of two reasons. Have they created tokenomics that gives their token value as an investment property? And then two, have they created a better DEX? Is it faster? Is it easier to use? Does it have more liquidity? Is it cheaper? And cheaper is obviously the number one goal right now because gas fees have been so high. And right now, even though it's early, it doesn't have a lot of liquidity yet. They haven't launched their liquidity programs. Beholder is actually right now a cheaper DEX to use than Uniswap. I've tried it. I've done a trade on Beholder and a trade on Uniswap, and Beholder was about 35 to 40% cheaper in gas fees, and that's today. So here is the DEX. This is what it looks like. I've got my MetaMask here attached to it, and you've got your standard kind of swapping interface here. You can pick one token, let's say ETH, you'd approve it, and then let's say I want to trade it into Scarcity. Now Scarcity is actually the second token of Beholder. It is the utility token on Beholder. All right, so what exactly is Beholder? What makes it better than existing DEX now? Well, there was this great AMA on March 2nd, which is now a Medium article. You can find it here on Medium at Paul at Degen.vc. It's a conversation between him and Justin Goro. And you can find him on Twitter here at Justin Goro. He is the mad genius behind Beholder. This guy has a ton of development experience, and he is the main man behind Beholder. He's actually teamed up with a group called Degen.vc, and you can check them out here, Degen.vc. They've got a bunch of projects on the go. This is the team here, the main team. You've got Fraser Brown, you got Paul Scott, and then over here is Justin Goro. And as you can see, he's the senior dev behind Degen.vc and the creator of Beholder. He's been building DEXs before Uniswap was even born. Okay, so let's quickly go through the main questions and answers on this AMA. First question, what was the inspiration behind Beholder? Justin says that he had the idea for Beholder at a time when DEXs acted more like centralized exchanges, so they were just like order books and the like, and he was working on token bonding curves. And it struck him that he could utilize token bonding curves to create a single contract multi-token exchange. This is huge. This is a really cool idea that is behind Beholder. It's the first DEX I've seen utilize this. And so that was the inspiration for the DEX, and he's been working on it ever since. So the idea here of a single contract multi-token exchange is that it will be uber gas efficient. So he talks about it in more detail here. The question was, can you explain in high level how Beholder achieves over 50% savings on gas fees? Well, one is that it's built on this bonding curve, and bonding curves are going to be the future of DEXs, in my opinion. A lot of the new DEXs coming out are talking about being on a bonding curve, but this is what makes Beholder even more unique. It's what he says here. Another aspect is the fact that all tokens are stored on one contract. So Ethereum charges quite a lot of gas to call multiple contracts. So if you can keep everything in one contract, you save quite a bit of gas. So on most dexes, there is a contract for each token pair. So if you're swapping between many pairs, the cost can add up. But here, all the liquidity on Beholder is put into one single smart contract. And that's how they're able to save on gas, which is pretty genius. So talking about the I token, Justin says that I is the governance token, but with a twist. We're giving it quite a bit of utility, so to speak. Short answer is it's a mixture of utility and governance token. We're always looking for ways to bring maximum value to the use of our tokens. And this is obviously very important. There are so many investment options now, a lot of dexes. Whoever can bring the most value to their token is going to be able to attract more investors. And part of doing that for I is that it is a deflationary token. There is a burning mechanism, and so I is deflationary. So that brings me to going to talk a little bit more about the tokenomics here. It's a capped supply of 10 million. Extremely low supply, and it's deflationary. So right now we can see that there is a circulating supply of just over 5.5 million. So about 55% of I is circulating right now. It has a tiny market cap of just over $7 million. I know you cryptowisers, you're always looking for the hidden gem, that next potential moonshot. Well, Beholder is definitely one of those with a market cap under 8 million. And it's a newer token. Okay, the I token just launched in February. As you can see, it had one big spike up, big drop. This is the area here I would have loved to have got it. Ooh. You know, when that first launch happens, you see that first peak and then that first dip. That is a beauty sweet spot in a bull market. Because you can see from there, it shot all the way up. It did an all-time high of $2.38, had another dip, and it's been climbing ever since. So it's back up to $1.55, but with such a tiny market cap. This project is just getting started. So you can find the I token if interested on Uniswap right now. Not huge volume, about $500,000 a day in volume, but I expect as word gets out about this project, when they launch their liquidity queuing, which I will talk about next, there's going to be a lot of interest in Beholder. I also recommend just using it as a swap right now. There aren't a ton of tokens to choose from on it right now. They will be adding hundreds more in the short term, but you can still do a swap here. And I recommend coming here, doing a swap, do a similar swap on Uniswap and see how much lower the gas fees are here. I mean, we're not talking Binance Smart Chain low, but if you need to do an Ethereum trade, Beholder's already a great option if you want to save on gas. But I mentioned quickly the idea of this liquidity queuing. This is what they're going to be launching very soon. So this is another article by Paul at Degen.vc about liquidity queuing. In Beholder, adding liquidity results in the mining of SCX tokens. So that's their second token that I was talking about, the scarcity token. So when you add liquidity to Beholder, it mints you SCX tokens in return. So this liquidity queuing that they're going to be launching is where you can essentially stake those SCX tokens and earn I token back. So unlike Uniswap, you don't pool tokens on Beholder. You simply send the tokens and receive SCX back. And primarily the liquidity queuing allows users to take those SCX tokens, lock them up to receive I tokens as a bonus, as I just said. And if you're interested in the nitty-gritty of how all this is going to work, I recommend this article on Medium by Paul at Degen.vc. And for those of you who don't like a ton of text, they actually have some useful visuals here to explain how it works too. Essentially, when you provide the SCX, you get put into the queue, and there's various slots in the queue. And as new people like Eric come in and put theirs in, then the slots move up. But the general idea behind it is they're going to be rewarding people who get the scarcity token, lock them up to get I token in return, which is going to add a lot of liquidity to the Beholder platform. And that's really all it is missing at this point. All right, let's have a quick look at the roadmap that they put out in mid-February. This was written by Fraser Brown. As I told you, he is one of the Degen.vc partners. Beholder version 2 launched mid-February on the 19th. Next, as I said, they're coming out with the Beholder liquidity queuing event. And then they talk about their their DEX strategic plan. All right, so let's get a bit more specific quickly about the liquidity queuing here, because this is well explained on this roadmap. So 1, users will send B2 listed assets, tokens, to their respective LVs, liquidity vaults. Then 2, users will be able to choose pools on Uniswap, SushiSwap, or simply add to Beholder's liquidity. Liquidity Vault will return LP tokens with an SCX pair or pure SCX in the case of the Beholder option. And then the LP will be autonomously returned to the user's wallet after a period in the queue. So there is no need for an unstake action by users. It just automatically goes back to your wallet once the queue moves along and you are out of the queue. So the length users wait to get that LP token back will really depend on the popularity of those tokens and how many more people behind you enter the queue. And then you are rewarded for the time that you waited in the queue with the I tokens. And it is calculated on an hourly basis. So that's how the liquidity queuing is going to work in more detail. A key aspect here of Beholder is their mission to always be the lowest cost in terms of gas option for Ethereum. So as they say here in the roadmap, as Beholder's competitors routinely upgrade to their preferred flavor of layer 2 solution, so B2 will aim to leapfrog them in doing so. Beholder aims to maintain its leadership as a low-cost, high-value DEX. So right now there is no clear leader in layer 2 options. You've got front runners, you've got the Merkle rollups, the optimistic rollups, but not one clear winner so far. So it's important for Beholder to explore and exploit the best options without becoming bound to one solution. And since SCX is a fee on transfer token, one effective and low-risk approach may be to send SCX onto various L2 platforms, so layer 2 solutions. And one of the ones they're looking at is Loom's roll-up bridge. The key thing here that I like is they're looking further ahead. So they're not reacting to what's going on right now. They're building for where DEX is and DeFi is going to be months from now. And this was reflected again in the AMA. One of the questions was, are there any plans for interoperability with the ever-growing Binance Smart Chain? And they say that they are looking at all options, of course, but that layer 2 might be the lower hanging fruit given the size of volume on Ethereum DeFi. And I agree with this strategy. I love Binance Smart Chain right now. As you know, if I was a project building a few months ago, I would have wanted to do it for Binance Smart Chain. But I think layer 2 solutions are closer than people think. We even had Vitalik talking about it on the Tim Ferriss podcast recently. So if you're building something now, you want to be building something that is going to be on trend when it comes out weeks, months from now. I don't think you want to be building specifically for Binance Smart Chain now, because I don't think it's going to be the chain of choice a couple of months from now. I think once layer 2 is figured out, Ethereum will again be the hot chain. Not that there's not room for Binance Smart Chain and other chains, but if I had developers working on something now, I would want it to be for layer 2 solutions. So I love this strategy. All in all, I think Beholder is a really cool hidden gem of a project at a tiny little market cap. It doesn't have the hype that our next project has right now, and so it is under the radar still, in my opinion. Definitely something worth checking out. I think you'll be hearing a lot more about it in the coming weeks. Okie doke, the next new hot DEX that I want to talk about is SifChain. Now, SifChain has had way more hype than Beholder. It's less of a hidden gem, but it's still a very cool project, still very early on, definitely worth talking about. So the SifChain token is the Rowan token, or eRowan. eRowan is the ETH wrapped version of Rowan, because SifChain is not an Ethereum project. It's actually being built on Cosmos and the same technology that Binance Smart Chain is built on. So a lot of unknowns still with SifChain. We don't know what the market cap is or the circulating supply. Token sitting right now at $1.16. I have been waiting for a good entry point with this one because I missed the initial pump. So as we can see here, it launched in at around 25 cents and went up to about 50, stabilized, pumped again to 75, came down, has been hovering in around 50 for most of March, but in the last couple of days, we've seen a lot of hype for this project and it has pumped. And so I have been staying away for now, waiting for a good entry point. And again, the best place to find eRowan is on Uniswap. As you can see, 2.8 million in volume. There has been a lot of interest in this project in the last few days. So SifChain is the world's first omni-chain decentralized exchange. Like Beholder, it is a DEX, as I said, built on Cosmos SDK, which makes it very fast and very cheap. This is the key right here to SifChain. It is cross-chain communication. So it's going to target about 20 to 25 blockchains like Ethereum and Stellar, and its goal is for new blockchains to consider cross-chain integration as essential as a wallet or a block explorer. And liquidity from all cryptocurrencies can then be accessed on-chain, allowing the coordinated deployment of capital from all cryptocurrencies by DAOs. And there are a few unique features that SifChain is working on. So it would have limit orders. So right now on Uniswap, you cannot put a limit order in. That would be huge. And also you could be trading on margin, which would also be huge. So it would have more of the powers of some of the major centralized exchange like Binance, but in a DEX form. Now, SifChain is also going to be using what is called continuous liquidity pools, the CLP. And liquidity providers can earn income by providing liquidity in these pools, and swappers can send a transaction to a liquidity pool trading tokens they have for those on the other side of the pool. And a lot of people are calling this the sister chain to ThorChain or Ruin. There seems to be a lot of overlap with the teams, potentially. They're both anonymous teams, so we don't know, but there is clearly a connection between both of these projects, which is why this one has been so hyped. As you can see, they have a large group of partners and investors already. Some of the biggest crypto investing firms are in on this one. And there's a great article on Medium by SCNFLK, Sceneflick, about the key differences between SifChain and ThorChain. It says here that SifChain uses ThorChain as a reference for implementation, but has notable differences. So one is that ThorChain uses a native token, which means that it makes transactions on the native chain for an external asset, whereas SifChain uses a pegged token model, which means users trade pegged token. And you can find SifChain's beliefs about liquidity pool architecture in their token economics paper, and there is a link here in this article, and I won't go through it in the video, but obviously this is key reading for anyone looking to invest in Rowan. So this article concludes that SifChain and ThorChain are both great products. The team behind SifChain is in strong support of Ruin, which is the network asset of ThorChain, but that they are different. They have some technical differences that make SifChain unique and not just a copy of ThorChain. But longtime cryptowisers will know that I've been in ThorChain Ruin for a while. I've really obviously enjoyed how well that project has done, and so I'm very interested in SifChain. It's got the same weird branding that turned me off of ThorChain originally. But since I got past that for ThorChain and saw that what they're actually doing seems to be working pretty good, well, I'm not as nervous about all of this for SifChain. They seem to be clearly using the same kind of path and strategy that ThorChain had, and that one worked super well, even though it had an anonymous team and weird branding. And I think there's a potential for SifChain to have the same success. But as I said, I have not jumped in yet, waiting for the right entry point. So I want to see where the price lands. Unfortunately, missed this initial pump. Would love to see a pullback. And if there is any substantial pullback, I will be getting myself a bag of SifChain to go with the bag of Beholder I that I have, because I believe both these projects have the potential of doing big things. All right, Cryptowisers. So those are two very exciting new dexes to have on your BIDAR. Both are worthy of your attention. So You know what to do from here. Do your own research. See if they are of interest to you. Also, another reminder that we did launch the Cryptowise website, cryptowise.com. And good thing we did, because we woke up this morning and we had been kicked off of Twitter. Our account on Twitter is suspended for the moment. We're trying to get it back. We're not quite sure what we did. So hopefully we'll get that sorted sooner than later, because it would totally suck not to be able to have our Twitter account. But if you're looking to get a hold of us, you can do so at cryptowise.com. And more importantly, let us know if you're interested in a Cryptowise Insider newsletter. The way you let us know is by signing up with your email. As soon as we get enough people signed up, we will launch one. We'll take that as a sign of interest. And before you go, would you do old Milty a favor and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure that you've hit that little bell so you get notified every time we publish a video. Hope you guys like this one. Thank you so much for watching. As always, my name is Milton. Until next time, over and out.